Hey Niharika, great to have you on the show. For people who don't know you, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thanks for inviting me. So, my name's Niharika, a little difficult to pronounce, and I live in India. I've just quit my job about a year ago, and now I'm teaching a cohort-based course. I have digital products, and I'm a full-time writer. I rarely freelance because I'm a bit too lazy for it, but that's what I do. And I'm still figuring it out. I mean, 6 months later, I wouldn't have imagined what I'm doing today. And a year ago, like, this was not even a dream, it was way above what I could imagine. So, yes.
Incredible journey, and I'd like to talk about that because how did you fall into writing mode? There's so much has happened to you over the years. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I liked writing since I was a kid, and I was very actively practicing it. I used to write poetry. I mean, when I was 7, I wrote a poem on life, and I'm sure I didn't know anything about life, but then I wrote it anyway. And then I wrote the next one on leaf. So I wrote like really random poems as kids, but my parents really encouraged it. They told me that, okay, do whatever you want to do, have fun, like enjoy your writing. But then as I grew up, I still kept writing. I just didn't think like it could be a career path, and especially like India is a really competitive country. So you
Yeah.
can't just like go out and
Everybody's doing
select
master
a.
degrees.
Yeah, like it's such a set pattern, right? To like study and go for your undergrad, go for your postgrad. So that's what I did. I just like went to one of the best places for undergrad, for postgrad, but then something still didn't feel okay. But then I thought if I crib about it, I'm going to be like a spoiled brat and entitled that everyone else is slogging their ass off. So how dare I choose to do something different? But when the pandemic happened, I had a lot of time to myself. And then I randomly, in the middle of a really boring Zoom meeting, because I was always called in hours of Zoom meeting every single day where I wasn't even required, but just because I was the
Oh,
junior most in the team. And I
yeah,
started like researching for random things on Google, and I came across some random blog who spoke about, earning from writing and writing on Medium. So I started writing on Medium. And then I saw that there are actual real people who just write, and they don't have to be famous, they don't have to be big, but they make a living out of it. So I just started researching them heavily, their journeys, what they did to get there, and everything. Like I just kept learning from different people so I can like steal whatever I can and put it in my own path.
yeah, yeah,
And that's how like my goal was that once I start earning three times the my salary, and it's not like my I earned a lot, it's just that my salary was really less, but enough to live here. But if I
yeah,
earn three times my salary for like 3 consecutive months, then I'll quit my job and be a full-time freelancer. Being a creator was never a part of the plan.
yeah, yeah.
And then I did quit my job.
That's cool. That's cool. And when did you start writing on Medium, and how were those first articles?
Oh, they were so terrible. I started writing in September 2020, but my articles were so bad. And Medium is also a really tough place to grow in. I mean, I tell everyone that it's a 1 year game. And when I say 1 year, it means like posting between 10 to 20 articles a month, preferably 15 plus. And that's the
Wow.
only time like you can see some growth. But my articles were really bad, but I think that's also growth, right? Like right now there are over 400 articles, and I think first 300 were terrible, but back then I like at article number 100 I thought the first 50 are terrible.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, it's good that you can see so much growth. And so you started just writing. Well, how did you come up with the types of articles, the substance?
So, writing on Medium was new to me, but I've been writing all my life. I mean, now I'm 26, so I've been writing for 19 years, and not once in a while, but consistently. Because even in school, I used to be a part of the editorial team. Then in my undergrad, I used to run a blog on WordPress back then. And before Medium happened, like I deleted this influencer account on Instagram because I didn't realize, but it was taking a toll on my mental health. But I used to
Oh,
write there as well because I've solo traveled to a few places. I have a fat to fit fitness journey. So I used to write a lot of content there. So I just like practice the same thing. I think one trick is that I find it easier to write when I am going through the same thing in life. So let's say, okay, right now I'm trying this Ayurvedic diet plan, so I can write about this later. And that time I was side hustling, so I wrote a lot about how it feels to side hustle. Back then I
Yeah,
was dreaming to someday quit my job, so I would write about why I'm dreaming of that, and how do I plan to get there. So I write a lot about what I'm going through in life. I think it's easier.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I
That's
also
well,
read a
that's
lot.
yeah, it's interesting because I I don't write about anything that's happening to me. I mostly write about just practical things, resources to help people. I don't know, start their own business or grow their Twitter. That's. But is it also because you started writing when you were 7 and you were journaling a lot that you just, your thoughts are well aligned to what you can write with your pen?
So because I was started writing a blog at 18, and then I continued the Instagram account till I was 24. So those 6 years I was writing a lot about myself and my life, but again making it educational in nature, because how I started with the internet stuff was I blogged my entire journey of losing 25 kilos, which took nearly 2 years because I had a knee injury. So I was talking about myself, but I was also learning new things, reading these books. I also gave that knowledge. So it was like a mix of a personal story as well as having a takeaway for the reader, which is something I do even today. So I don't write it entirely about me because I feel, why would somebody else waste time just reading about me?
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, and so you started writing on Medium. How quickly did you get to 50 blogs, 100 blogs, and then you also started a journey on LinkedIn?
So I think Medium, I only became serious in March 2021. And then I got like, say, I started touching four figures nearly 2 months after that. So I think it took me, like, if we take the entire journey, maybe it took me 6 months or something to get somewhere between 50 to 100 articles. But I only started taking it seriously in March because I realized that I'm just dreaming and not doing much about it. And manifestations don't work unless you're working towards it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and
yeah.
LinkedIn was again like, it was never a part of the plan because I just randomly posted. I used to share my articles on LinkedIn first, but then when I quit my job, I just posted a LinkedIn post saying, "Today I quit my job to be a full-time writer," and that got over 1 million views. So
Wow,
then I realized that
wow.
I should probably write on LinkedIn.
Wow, oh, funny. But and so you just said, I had the first 50 or 100 articles up, and I already started making four figures a month. Was that
Yeah,
based on like the money you got from Medium, or also
only
sponsorships? How did
Medium.
you
Only
only Medium?
Medium, and this is not counting, like, I used to get a lot of freelance gigs from Medium, which is one reason I really advocate the platform, because instead of me going to Upwork all the time, now people were coming to me. So that really helped, because you can negotiate better, you get better work because they want you and you're not running after them and you're not one in 100 applicants.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I find it interesting, yeah, because um, a lot of people are on Medium, but they don't get traction. What's the difference between you and those other people?
Are they either they're writing about Medium or they're cribbing about Medium? Because some people are always just writing about Medium on Medium, which is, I mean, it's futile. But I would say, like, one reason why people don't get traction is because they don't look at the reader. They only think of themselves, and then they feel entitled that I should get paid because I worked so hard. Okay, but why should the reader read it? Every time I write any post, I always think that why should somebody waste their precious time? Not waste, like put in their precious time when they're already spoiled with so much of content across so many platforms. Why should they read my stuff? So, thinking of that makes you mindful of what you put out there, and also makes you a better editor to cut out absolutely every word which is not necessary. And
But
another reason could
but
be that people don't try for long enough because it doesn't happen in first 10, 20, 30 articles. Like, maybe give it 150 articles,
no. But how do you come up with this is the reason why people should read this?
By giving them value in some way, and which is not just generic. So instead of like just writing about waking up at 5 a.m., because the entire world knows it's healthy, but not everyone can do it, but we all know it's healthy. But why don't you write about why you wake up at 5 a.m.? What are the challenges that you faced? What was your process? And how long did it take for you to get into it? And what are your results? Because that is a better article than a generic, okay, why should you wake up at 5 a.m.?
Yeah.
So adding
And
a
that's also the
story to that
difference.
essay.
Uh, but that's also the difference between all those generic blog posts you read everywhere, where you just see what are
Yeah.
the 10 best tools or the 10 best this or that, and then it's just a generic list instead of I went through all of this, and these are really what helped me instead of just a generic story.
Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. And but what I also see in every post or almost every post is it's something personal to your life, and somehow that just resonates to a lot of people. People think, hey, I want to follow her. I want to follow Niharika on her journey. Do you think that's also part of why you're, I guess, more successful than others?
But I think it's mainly because a lot of my audience has seen me for 2 years, and then they've seen me how I was struggling as a side hustler, how I started making it as a side hustler, how I quit my job, how everything went down when I quit my job. So I'm only talking about what I've already done, and I don't preach anything that I haven't done. So I think they follow me because I've been there, done that, instead of just preaching and trying to be a guru, because I don't want to be anyone's guru. And how I'd like to see it is that probably they see some sort of hope that if she could do it, then I can do it too. And considering, like, if you come from the western part of the world, you have 10 times better facilities than I ever would. I mean, it's freezing cold here, but we will never have central heating, right? That's a minor inconvenience. Or like people in India would call it a minor inconvenience, but somebody in the West, if they have to come and stay here, it's a major inconvenience to freeze. But this is just like one of the many things. Like, I will never have 24 hours of electricity. I will never have 24 hours of hot water. And I just think it gives a ray of hope that if she could do it, maybe I can do it too, and live life on my own terms.
Uh, I was surprised. Somebody on our team also, she's from India, doesn't have any central heating. She was, wearing
Yeah.
a winter coat indoors, and yeah, I had no idea, ignorant me. But yeah, I guess yeah, resonates with a lot of people. And if she can do it, I can also do it, and
Yeah.
that's a great way. Yeah, yeah.
And because I think
Okay.
I don't fake it, because I don't try to look like I'm making, 5 figures a month, because I don't make it. And when I do, I will put it out there, but I don't make it. And a lot of people also don't make it, but then they write about it, and you get caught later on.
Yeah, yeah, very true, very true. Huh. And so the moment came when you made about triple your day job salary, and then what
Yeah.
happened?
So I got this one client who was like, I was ghostwriting for him. He was this really top guy in the Silicon Valley. He was Ivy League educated, and it was going really well. And yeah, then my granddad passed away, and the gig still went on like a few days later. He was really kind about it. So then I got even more attached because I thought, he's such a nice person. And we were working throughout that time as well. And then I quit my job and I told him, because I had a 5 month contract. So I thought that even if like I have nothing else, I will always have like this guy for the next 3 months after I quit my job. And
Oh,
then he ghosted me.
oops.
And so
Why?
then
What was
I
was
have
was
no
the value
idea.
you provided? No, the
Oh,
value you
I have
provided
no
wasn't
idea.
connected to your job, was it?
Uh, he just like told me that, like a lot is happening and that time it was in the news that a lot is happening in that particular organization and everything. But then he just said like, I'll get back to you. And then he never responded to anything. And I had already quit my job and I already got used to getting like really good money. So when I did start getting good money, everything went down. But today I'm glad that it did, because it's also the reason I rarely freelance, because I've realized that like if I can make money and make a living out of like being a creator, which is what I enjoy, then I do not have to work for so many people and take that stress. So yeah, and with time, honestly, Anik, money started becoming a bit insignificant. Maybe that's because who I am as a person. And after I'm 26 and I've traveled to 25 countries, and what I've realized is that I do not have such big goals. I mean, if I have a healthy body and I have my family, and like we live in a country with so much of poverty and I can have a house which keeps me warm and away from the rain, then I'm very fortunate.
Yeah.
And for me, that always holds a priority. And when it comes to work, making an impact and me being happy and my customers or my audience being happy would always take like be a priority than earning X amount. With money, it's that as long as like I'm not struggling and expenses are covered, everything else is a bonus because these are things that really matter. And more money and not having this would be really terrible for me, which is also the reason I did not monetize my LinkedIn as in sponsorships until like this week. I said no to everyone just because I didn't want to be like that person who's not real and faking it for the heck of money.
Yeah. 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 Hmm. Okay, so you had a pretty big setback when you quit your job and your only
Yeah.
freelance client ghosted you. What did you do to turn things around?
So then I spoke to somebody else who I'd been talking to for the last 3 months, and he told me that we're gonna start working together and all of that, right? And then I told him that, hey, so let's talk because now I'm finally gonna be free. I'm quitting my job. And we had gone through an entire business blueprint and all of that for his company. And then he says, okay, but you're from India, so I'm gonna pay you like $12 an hour. And I'm just like, why? Just
No.
because I'm from here? He said, yeah, like, why would you charge so much if you're from there? And the thing is, this person was a friend, like he was
Oh,
my
yeah.
writing friend who I shared a lot with. So there was like not just one downfall, there was another downfall because I thought if this client goes, I'll have this, but that person also went. So then what I did was I just went on to Upwork and I started looking for one-time gigs so I don't have to commit for so long. And that's when I discovered there's something known as copywriting, and website copywriting is really cool, really high paying, but a lot of fun because it's essentially what I really like to do, which is condense a big thought into as few words as possible, which is catchy. And that's exactly what they wanted. I didn't even know what website copywriting is, nor did I learn it, but I really started enjoying it. And then I started doing one time gigs.
Mm,
And then two
interesting. And
months
so
later, I
and
went
you
in for a surgery.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But just to go back to the copywriting part, you actually went on Upwork, but you had
Yeah.
no prior jobs, no reviews. How did you get your first jobs?
I had like two reviews. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
How did
yeah.
you
And
approach getting new
also,
jobs?
oh, so there's this YouTube channel called Josh Burns Tech, and he is, I think, one of the highest paid Upwork freelancers. He created this really cool video on how to have a winning cover letter and all of that. So I used everything he told me to, and then I used a filter which is to have verified payments but also have new clients, and that's when I applied. And also, I figured out one more thing, which is that I remember back then somebody put their listing as like $150, and then I thought, okay, cool, let me just play around and say, can this be 240? And he just said yes. So I realized that literally, if you don't ask, you will
No,
never
you
get an
don't get.
answer. And the worst answer is just no. So, yeah, two major lessons. One is like learning copywriting, the other one was just asking.
No. But and then diving into like how you reply to jobs, because
Hmm.
I've hired many people on Upwork. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars there. I get a lot of like very broad, unpersonalized messages like, "Hey, I can do it. Just reach out to me." While I'm asking, "Please give me a quote for this. How much would you charge?" And people don't even respond to that. So I think a lot of people can still learn from somebody who's been there to say, well, if you reply to a job post, then it needs to at least contain this and this and this,
Right.
and then, you know,
So, from a freelancer's perspective, I completely sympathize that we apply for many, many jobs in a day and all of it cannot be completely personalized. That being said, what I would recommend is like create like 15% of a standard template, which is, your first line and your last let's talk and get on a call to discuss further. Maybe that can be completely copy pasted, but whatever you put in the middle should be personalized in the sense that, okay, you're looking for somebody who can increase your social media growth through content, and this is why I think I'm a good person for this job and for this company. So pitch yourself and also match whatever, if whatever the job description says. So I was a recruiter as well as a full in my first job. So the trick is always that whatever the job description says, just map out every single point and try to be a winner in all those points. So if it has 3 points that we want a person who does A, B, and C, then at least have 2 points that I can do A properly and I can do C properly, so that you stand out,
Yeah.
and try to
Yeah.
show some proof of work. Like even I've recruited through Upwork, and the sad part is that a lot of people who apply never show their portfolio. So how do I know you're a writer, or you're an editor, if you don't even show me this is what you've done? So even when the chips were low, I still kept writing on Medium, so that if anyone wants to look me up, there's a huge catalog of work that speaks for me.
No, no, makes sense. Makes sense. Hmm. Okay, and so the other freelance gig also turned into nothing. You luckily got a couple of jobs on Upwork, and then the surgery happened. That's I think also around the time that I saw I think that post on LinkedIn, and a lot of people saw it.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
About the surgery, the post, which
Yeah, the
part?
well, yeah, yeah. Start with the surgery, how it changed your life, and then how you spoke about it on
The
LinkedIn, for
surgery
example.
is the reason that I'm a creator today, by the way, because that's a bit interesting. Because, okay, so I had an ACL reconstruction in both my knees, and then I was completely on bed for about 4 weeks. And I think I left my home only after 6 weeks. And for the first 2 weeks, I could not take a shower on my own, or do anything on my own. So I was, even if something, like I'm sitting on my bed and something would fall down, I had to call somebody to pick it up, and it was a really pathetic feeling.
Yeah.
So, and it just made me mentally very, very low, because after, so when you think of being in bed for 4 weeks, honestly, I was excited. I thought I'm going to binge watch on Netflix, read books, be super productive, even if I'm in bed. But 3 days later, you see that you're just on bed and
Yeah.
incapable of doing anything on your own, but the world is still moving around you, and it feels
Yeah.
like your life's just come to a halt. And it completely changed me, because so about 2 weeks into my surgery, I was just randomly sitting and I thought that, okay, can I have a course? But what will I teach? Because there are so many courses. And then I thought that my biggest strength is my consistency, which actually doesn't come from writing at all. It comes from hitting the gym. Because when I was 18, 19, 20, throughout my undergrad, when people were partying, eating junk, drinking alcohol, I was waking up at 6 and hitting the gym, saying no to junk food, not partying. And maybe
Yeah.
that's the reason
Excellent.
I'm so consistent today, because discipline and consistency and not getting results quickly, like delayed gratification, like these things are not an issue for me. I'm pretty good at it. So I just put out a tweet. And back then, I didn't even know that Hypefury has that feature. I don't think it did, the auto DM feature, right? It would have saved me so much time back then. But I put out a tweet that, hey, if I can help you be a consistent writer, then please comment and I will DM you something interesting. And I don't even think I had 1,000 followers back then. I had way less followers, right?
Mm,
And then nearly like 120 people commented. So I opened
wow,
everyone's DM and I created like some landing page on ConvertKit, which was really ugly. It was super bad. And I had
that's
no idea
nice.
what I'm going to do. I didn't even know there's something known as Gumroad. so, so I thought I'm just going to do it there anyway. If I screw up, people forget very early on the internet because they keep scrolling. So they're going to forget me anyway.
That's the spirit.
Um,
Uh,
so 120 people commented. So I thought, okay, so what's next? Like maybe we lead them to a form. And then everyone put in the emails. About 70 people applied. And then I thought, okay, that I'm just going to shortlist 40 people. And these people were from across 20 countries, and get them on a Slack group and just like do something, because I'm on bed and I have
yeah,
time. So,
yeah. All the time in the world.
so so then
Ah,
I got them together, and I thought it's going to fail, right? Because I mean, I just thought what I'm teaching is super generic. But then I got really good reviews and people really liked it. So I thought, okay, now what do we do? Like, it's happening on Slack. Do I have to create a website? How do I create a website? It's very difficult. I'm technologically quite challenged. I don't want to go to WordPress and create an entire website. And what to price this at, and all of that happened, right? And I was anyway, and I thought like people are saying good things because they want to be nice to me,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
also like they all knew that I had a surgery, so I thought they just want to be really nice to me. So I created a Gumroad page with all their testimonials, and right now it was still like a very broad blueprint of what I was teaching, right? And by the way, even on the course page today, I'm so shocked that the courses got sold out every single time because it doesn't mention what will you exactly do. It just mentions what your outcome would be, but it doesn't mention how. And so I don't know how do people trust me with that. So I just put it up, and then I discovered, okay, there's a website called Gumroad. Maybe let's, I know nothing about sales. So I thought, let me just do the first, I don't know, 10 seats at $99 and then 129. And then it all got sold out. And that's the day like my then boyfriend proposed to me. It got sold out like the same
I,
night.
we gotta stick around. I need you. That's funny.
So,
He's like, I need to
so
keep her.
no, I didn't know it's gonna be like, it was after he asked me out and it was a surprise. And then I got a notification. I checked
Cool.
my email and there was a notification about a Gumroad sale. And I was like, oh my God, people have paid me. And then I got damn anxious because I was thinking, okay,
Now
now
you
I
have to
have the
deliver.
money, which means, well, no, which also means that because I'm building in public, they can also shit on me in public, right?
Yep.
And they
Yep.
can just, and then I thought, okay, I'm just waiting till that one person says that Niharika's terrible and I didn't learn anything. I need my money back. And I mean, I'm very
It
grateful.
didn't happen.
We have 100% refund policy for the first like 1 week, and nobody's ever asked for it, so I feel happy. But that's how Summit was born, and yeah, and my first
Awesome.
first ever freebie was also like in like last year December. So that's how
Awesome.
the creator path happened. It was just out of just, I think it was just about looking inside and seeing what can I do that brings value to others, and how can I solve somebody else's problem, and that's how I
Yep.
kind of became a creator.
Cool. But how did you come up with the curriculum? Because yeah, you can say, well, I'm gonna make a consistent writer out of you, but that's easier said than done.
So, I'm like, and I've mentioned this so many times in my articles. So, I'm like really lazy. Okay. So, for me, I want to get done with something as soon as I can so that I can chill.
I'm signing up
So,
to your course right now. I like what I hear. Continue. Continue.
so, which is why even like that Medium article or editing, everything, I try to get done with my work as soon as possible just so that I can relax after that. And I don't like that thing in my head that I need to get work done. And I think those methods have, for some reason, attracted a lot of parents because 90% of people who come have kids or have like really tiny kids and a full time job and their side hustling. And when I look at them, I'm just like, I can't complain of anything because those people have it really hard. So, how did I come up with a curriculum? Like, getting back to your question, is that it was random. Nothing that I've ever done is planned. I don't even have a content calendar or schedule. It was just random that, okay,
I
if I
noticed
was
that a while back.
that if I was a customer, what would I want? But I also don't want to make a lot of effort because I have a life to live. And also, as a writer, I don't believe in writing every day and writing for 30 days because I feel the best ideas come for living. And that means going out on a date, spending time with your kids, and traveling. So, yeah.
Cool. Cool. And so, I still there's you said a lot, but still for people who are also lazy, also have a life, a family,
Mhm.
if and they would want to create a course, what would you advise them to come up with the curriculum? How would you, yeah, create that?
So whatever problem that you're aiming to solve, come up with a step-by-step solution. That, okay, so for me, let's break down consistency. And I actually haven't done this like like by talking, it's only been done in my head before. But what's the first step of consistency? Probably just getting some ideas to write, and also learning how can I keep getting ideas even after the course ends, because that's the success metric. Okay, so now that you've got ideas, okay, so what's the best way that I can write a Medium article or a LinkedIn? Can I have a template for that? And okay, now that I have a template for it, what's the next step? How can I fit writing into my life instead of running around writing? So if I have a full-time job, maybe I want to learn various methods of writing and editing so I can decide that do I want to write Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday to Friday, or only Saturday and Sunday. So that, and then okay, now that I'm writing, I have my routine, I have ideas, I know how to write, I know what to write. How do I build an audience? And that's the next step. So maybe designing a curriculum can be breaking down the solution into steps, because you can, like, it just can't all be done at once, and then breaking those steps into days or weeks. Does
Yeah,
that make
makes sense.
sense?
Makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so
Okay.
the it was a course, but it also was people getting in Slack. So it was a cohort based course, and you
Yeah,
help
it is a
people to
cohort
stay
based
consistent.
course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
and
cool.
I help people come up with their own sustainable systems of consistency, because I don't think writing for 30 days or any X amount of days makes you consistent. So I think learning systems that you can carry on which fit into your lifestyle, like that's the only way to be consistent.
Cool. We're starting a cohort January 15th. I'd like to invite you
Wow.
as a speaker.
Oh
If
wow.
you're interested.
Amazing. Yes.
Yeah, it's a paying
I
gig.
also heard that
I'll
it
tell you how much
sells.
offline, but
I also heard it's like selling a lot because I get information.
yeah, you get information. Yeah, I know from who. I know from who. Yeah, no, it's doing really well. It's doing really well. And we just
Yeah,
launched
it's so good.
the new cohort. It's selling right now. We're sending like
Oh
we've changed a
wow.
little bit from just you can buy whenever you want to. You have to apply to join. So we have a little bit more feeling with the people who apply, that we don't have all these weird niches where we don't really understand what
Yeah,
makes them tick. We know our niches where we can really help people. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting. So
it's
we'll
gonna be
talk
so
about
much
that offline.
fun. Okay.
You mentioned that you said, well, when I quit my job, I posted that on LinkedIn and I got a million views. So take us through why you decided to post that on LinkedIn and what happened afterwards.
So why I decided to post that statement was only because I thought it's gonna look like a badass move on LinkedIn, where everyone's just, because back then everyone's just saying, "Oh, I joined Microsoft. This is what they gave me: a notebook, a bottle, three pens." And I'm just like,
Funny.
what if I do something entirely different? And it worked. And what happened thereafter were a few thousand requests,
A
potential
few
calls
thousand
with people.
requests.
Yeah.
Wow.
And even till date, like, so I have 30,000 requests and it's impossible to go through it. So that's an advice I've given to the LinkedIn team, that even if one in a thousand are opportunities, I'm missing on 300 opportunities that I can't find. So,
Yeah.
anyway, so what happened then were like calls that people asked me if I want to work. And I don't think any of those calls materialized, because the thing of, oh, but like I'm in US and if I want to pay that much, I'm just gonna pay an American writer, kept following me. I was like, I never took that to heart. I was like, okay, cool. That's okay with
Yeah.
me. So yeah, I didn't get any opportunities even though I went viral, which is why I think virality is really overrated. And then I went on with LinkedIn just for fun, because now I was like writing full time. I had time, and
Yeah.
I wasn't overworking and working for 8 to 10 hours. So I just
Hmm.
wrote for fun.
Interesting. Now, last thing I want to you know take the audience through is, you mentioned that you're lazy. I think a lot of people are lazy. I'm lazy, and I think that's a good thing because you look for shortcuts. And I don't see that as a problem. I see that as somebody who's creative and wants to find solutions to you know their life problems, which is, I don't want to work. I want to do cool stuff all day, but how can I still do what I need to do and have a great life? So take us through what a day in your life looks like, writing, being productive, but also being lazy and having a life.
Right. So I'm gonna like talk about a day in my life before I got married, because right now I'm still figuring out how I can manage my time. It's so difficult, right? So it's gonna take me a while to adjust to this. So otherwise, what a day looked like was that I'd wake up, and the first thing I do is that after writing my gratitude journal and all of those things, I would edit my article because I just edit really well if my brain is completely fresh, and then I can look at these really big mistakes that I otherwise would overlook. And after that, I eat breakfast, and then after that, I write an article, and after that, I work out and meditate. Then there's lunchtime, and then till 4:30, I don't do anything. I just watch Netflix or like sit with my grandmom and just chill, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I
Netflix and chill.
have and then I have tea, and then at 5 I work again, which is I usually outline and I write a social media post if I have to. If I'm freelancing, which is very rare, then that's when I do it. And that's
And
it.
outlining for people, maybe run through that. What's an outline to
So
you?
I outline as in that I have an idea bank because I write 10, like I try to write 10 article ideas. I used to do it every day, but now I do it once a week. So because I never want to see a blank page and I always want something to write about because a blank page is overwhelming. So whatever I article that I want to write tomorrow, I outline it in bullet points that this is what I will cover. And usually I outline three, four of them so that it's just easier, like in case in the evening I don't have the time to outline it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
makes sense. Makes sense. Cool. And to anybody who's thinking of starting a writer career or thinking of creating online, what would you say to them?
Just instead of analyzing and trying to learn everything so you have it all sorted, just hit all around the place and something would work out. But if you keep analyzing and then you choose that one place that you know about and then try there, it may not work out and you'll be disheartened. Because when I started a course, I didn't even know the technicalities of it. And even when I launched a checklist, I never had a product in mind because I would always think, why would somebody buy from me? And even today, like I don't think like I try too hard to sell, because even my Black Friday sale email just said, okay, I'm having a Black Friday sale, but my products may not be for all of you, so I want to keep it short and not waste your time, and this is the
No,
discount.
no,
So I think just being like, hitting and trying and then learning as like whatever works out a bit, learning on the go helps. So I post this week, there's this weekly tweet that I post, which is start now and figure it out later.
no, no. It's great advice. I think a lot of people overthink things and they buy courses, but they don't actually do the thing they should do. And that's the best advice I think we can give is just
Also,
get
the
started
answers
and
are
you'll.
out there, like
Yeah,
on the internet and on blogs, on YouTube. Like nothing is really rocket science. Your answers are right there about everything. I'm like self-educated from YouTube.
no,
So yeah,
no. Awesome advice. Niharika, thank you so much for being on the pod. Where can people find you?
thank you. Thank you for having me. I,
You're
by the way,
welcome.
I lost you for like I heard Niharika and then I
Yeah,
didn't hear anything.
yeah. I said, Niharika, thank you for being on the pod.
Um,
And for people who don't know where to find you, mention your handles
okay.
and anything you want to plug.
So on Twitter, so I'm just going to actually spell my name. It's Niharika and Kaursodhi. So type this anywhere and you will find me. You can type my name Gumroad, type my name LinkedIn, Twitter, you'll find me, just not on Instagram because I'm against Instagram.
Very good. Thank you, Niharika, for your time. This was great.
Thank you.